Hey, Dee, did you see that lovely email we got from Glenn from Mississippi?
Yes, he and his wife were listening to us as they drove up to Memphis for a garden tour. That's sweet.
Yes, it was sweet. Well, he mostly wanted to send us a picture, but before we get to the picture, he said they saw somebody snipping a little seed pod off and putting it in
Yeah,
their pocket, and
two of them.
they knew that I'd be giving the stink eye to that person if I'd been there.
Yeah, he told on them, didn't he?
Yeah. But anyway, they sent a picture of somebody had used a typewriter as a planting container. What say you?
I thought that was really interesting, and gardeners are so creative. This one, just to give our listeners an idea, this one had a Hoya in the back, just a little leaf, right? And then it had echeverias, and it had some sort of a trailing plant. And I thought, that's clever. I wouldn't do it, but that's clever.
I would be tempted to do it if I had an old typewriter that I didn't care. The old
Right.
typewriter we had that I have given to my niece was owned by my grandmother and then my
Yeah.
mom, and so we don't wanna use that as a planter.
No,
But
no.
even though it doesn't work anymore, there's a key that's broken. But anyway, enough about typewriter planters. Dee, we should start this week's episode.
Welcome to the Garden Angelus, where we chat about flowers, veggies, and all the best dirt. I am Dee Nash from Guthrie, Oklahoma. I still have two large gardens a large garden and a small garden out in the country.
And I'm Carol Michael from Indianapolis, Indiana. Have my same suburban garden measured in the same square feet. It's about a third of an acre. It has not changed at all.
Well, mine's changed. My little one's changed a lot lately. We are Garden Angelus because we love gardening, and we would like you all to love it too.
Yes, we would, and we aren't afraid to spill all of our gardening secrets, the good ones, the bad ones, and even the ugly ones. But let's move on to this week's episode. Good morning, Dee, or I should say good afternoon here.
It's afternoon here too, isn't it? No, it's still morning. We're an
No,
hour apart for people to
yes,
know. You're Eastern
yes.
Standard Time. I'm Central Standard Time. It's a lot easier if you're all in the United States. If you have friends overseas, it's a little tougher because they not only do they have time differences, but they use a 24-hour clock and the United States does not. So it's
Right.
complicated. All right, tell me about your garden.
So I would like to report that I picked all the shelling peas. I've picked twice, 3 times, and then I pulled out the vines because they were looking a little bit rough and getting powdery mildew. And I'm like, you got to go.
Yep.
I mowed. I didn't end up mowing till Saturday because we had torrential rain one night, and then another night we had like a half inch, and it was just always too wet. And
Hmm.
so, but I'm pleased how the lawn is looking after the organic treatment that I got 2 weeks ago,
Good.
I guess it was. So lots of weeding in the vegetable garden, lots more to do because my old nemesis, purslane, has returned with a vengeance,
Yeah, always.
bringing along its little friend crabgrass, and they're having a party in my garden, and I don't like it. Anyway, I went to garden club on Monday. Oh my gosh, the speaker, one of the best we've ever had. She talked about hummingbirds.
Hmm.
So interesting. So of course, I might have bought 2 hummingbird feeders and put them up in my garden, and I'm waiting for them to show up. I changed out the sugar water today because they said you should keep that changed out. You don't want it to go rancid or whatever. So
You don't want to ferment. You don't want ants in it. You don't want
right.
it to make your little hummingbird sick. And by the way, you
No.
don't need it dyed. It doesn't have to be red.
No. And the other thing I did is I bought 2 little solar powered fountain things to put in my bird bath. The one in the back is working pretty well. It's cloudy now, but when it's sunny, I mean, I just want it to bubble and just have a little bit of motion. And then I'm trying it in front. I think that one's gonna be in too much shade, so I'm gonna have to maybe come up with another little bird bath situation to use
Hmm.
that one. So, you know, when you buy one thing and then it's like, "Oh, well, now I need a better bird bath because that one's in" anyway.
Hmm.
So and then while I was waiting here, and
Yeah.
I'm implying that I was waiting on you, and you actually in the end were waiting on me,
Doesn't usually happen.
but I was looking out at these I took the bird feeders down, and I replaced them with baskets of, petunias, and they look really sharp. But anyway, I was watching this bird that flew up there, and it was looking, and I think it's
Well,
thinking,
where's the bird seed?
"I know that there was food here. I know that there was food here," and it's going up and down the little chains for the hanging baskets, and I thought,
Mhm.
"Oh, my bad. I thought you would find food this summer. Wouldn't have to rely on my old feeders." So anyway, I thought that was kinda cute. But
Very
anyway,
cute.
that's another week in Carol's garden. Oh, and all my Chelsea chopping is done last Monday.
I wish mine was. I'm gonna go work on it some tomorrow morning. Okay, so We should explain why you want your bird baths to be fountains instead of just bird baths. Because motion brings birds to them.
Yeah,
Birds like
motion
good
brings
motion.
birds, and I think it keeps the water a little bit fresher,
I think it does too.
so
I do have a bird bath that's an angel. She's holding her wings like this. I should show them. So that one, that's the only, well, I have a teeny tiny, I don't know, it's not even really a bird bath. I have a teeny tiny bird bath thing on the front deck. All right. So not garden related, but Claire and I hung all of my pictures in my office.
I see
And
that back behind you.
yeah, there's some over here, and there's a really pretty gallery wall on the left side that has lots of my favorite things. And then today I'm getting from Amazon a bookshelf that's gold, and I'm going to put the gardening books on it in here
Nice.
because my other shelf is in the other room and I've got it full. Even though I sold most of my books, Claire goes, I cannot believe how many books you sold. And then I kept everything alive. I'm having some
Oh,
trouble with a rose though. What?
I said, "Oh, how nice."
Yeah,
But you're
it's
having
nice.
trouble with a rose?
Yeah, Caldwell pink is there's something wrong with it, so I gotta go out there and cut out whatever's dead and look at it closer. It almost looks like it has scale, but I've never had scale on a rose before.
Hmm,
Not saying it can't happen, I just never had it. Okay, and then alright, so Bill broke one of my hand-thrown garden pots, and
oops.
yeah, and so I had to quickly find a container and I thought back to the fact that all season long at the greenhouse, there was one I wanted that's white that looks like leaves. And I wouldn't buy it because I was like, I do not need another planter, right? Well,
But
now I
now you
do.
do. Yeah.
And so I called up I texted my boss and I said,
Uh-huh.
hey, can I buy that planter? And she goes, do you have a warehouse key? And I was like, no, I don't have a warehouse key. She goes, "Come by my house and get one and go open the warehouse and get your pot," which was just very nice of her, and so
Yes.
to pay them for it, and I already got it replanted. I had to pull everything apart because this style of pot is it goes in a little bit at the top, and the other one was a flared style, so it didn't fit, so I had to replant it all. It looks pretty good, though, and I'll take a picture of it for the
I
newsletter.
I was just gonna say we need a picture of your new pot for the
And
newsletter.
then, let's see, we got rain. It was about 2 inches worth, which was awesome, right? And what else happened? Oh, I planted some I'm not gonna be able to remember the name of them. Cosmos seeds. Oh.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought okay, so when they put in the irrigation, I thought that they had gotten rid of, like, 2 of my sets of zinnia seeds, and this just shows you how tough zinnias are. They got moved around a little bit, but they all popped up, and so I put the Cosmos in a different spot because it was
Nice.
their spots. So it'll look actually more like nature intended it instead of D, and that's okay.
So did you get your drip irrigation set up on the pot that was sort of out of reach of everything?
No, I haven't done that yet. I need to call Esteban and ask him to do it. But I had a couple of pots that weren't watering correctly, so I went in and adjusted the spigots and got those watering the way they should. It's been a busy week, a very, very busy week. Went and cleaned the front porch. I did a lot this week for me.
Excellent.
Playing favorites.
Well, do you remember not last winter, but the winter before, I winter sowed a bunch of hollyhocks?
Yes, I do remember those. Mhm.
Some of them are now blooming and they get to be
I bet
my
they're pretty.
favorites. So,
Yeah.
and I was joking because when the hollyhocks are standing tall and blooming, doesn't that mean you're going to get a big strong storm coming through? And we did
Mhm.
have one the other night.
We had a big storm. We got at least 2 inches of rain, maybe more.
Well,
Yeah.
Thursday night, just south of here, they had some pretty horrendous stuff go through. So just a hair away from us, so to speak. But
Yeah.
anyway, so my
Yeah.
hollyhocks, and I'll put a picture in the newsletter. They're standing tall, looking lovely. These are sort of a dark purplish, orange, purplish magenta-y color. They're very pretty.
Mhm. Sounds beautiful. In my case, it's still that grouping of plants in front of the house on the northeast corner. It's all grown into itself. I'll take another picture of it. I decided not to put the main hair fern around my angel, and here's why. That area is pretty hot and it's pretty sunny for over half the day, just the way it angles. And so
Uh-huh.
I was like, that won't work there. So I'm gonna have to come up with something else to put around her. I'll think of something.
Exactly, because she needs more plants.
Yeah, because
Speaking of more plants, the
I
question of the
don't have
week.
enough. Okay, it's from your sister. I'm gonna ask it and then you answer. Ready?
Okay.
What should I put in my front window boxes which turn out to be too sunny for impatiens?
Yeah, she told me that we were talking the other day, and she said all of the impatiens sort of died out in the sun. I suspected that if you had kept watering them like a crazy person, but no one has time to water like a crazy person.
Except Carol.
So I suggested she go to the greenhouse and get some petunias because the garden centers now, the good ones, I'm not talking about like Lowe's and Home Depot, but they'll start to get in big pots of petunias, some of the different types of zinnias that you can plop in that are a little bit more mature because they've been growing them along a little bit more and add some instant color. So you're not starting off with like a little seedling like you would in May. So I sent her down there to get bigger pots of petunias and stick those in there.
So that's interesting because here petunias start to kind of poop out this time of year unless you really cut them back severely and also feed them. We get most of our petunia baskets right before Mother's Day, which is,
Right.
different.
What you do?
I would put in either portulaca because it does really well in crowded spaces, heat, lantana, but you'll have to pull out the whole, when you get done at the end of the season, it'll pull out the whole thing. Lantana would be good. I love lantana when it's pink and yellow. I like the red and yellow too.
Those are pretty. She might have got some of those. She might have just ignored me completely.
Alternanthera, it does really well.
Yeah.
Joseph goat. Those kinds of things that don't mind hot weather. That's good.
So
Insect of the
anyway,
week. It's one of my favorites.
fireflies or lightning bugs? Which do you say?
Well, I grew up saying lightning bugs because that's what my family said, but now I say fireflies. And
Ditto.
at my old house, I had tons of them, and part of it was because of a certain hydrangea that I had, which I'm not even gonna be yeah, it's is it crossfire? Is that it? I had this one hydrangea, and I know it was attractive to fireflies because I would see them on it during the daytime. 'Cause that's
Oh,
what they look like, right? They look like little beetles, and they were all
they
over
are little beetles.
loved. Huh?
They are little beetles.
Yeah, they are little beetles, but at night, you just see them flashing. So what
Right.
else do you wanna say about them? I know something funny about them.
Well, I just want to say that it's sort of like one of those milestones of early summer when you see the first fireflies,
Yeah.
lightning bugs, fireflies. And the other way you can help them is if you have some areas where you have like natural leaf cover in your garden and you're
Mhm.
not disturbing it, that's where they overwinter. And so keeping some naturalized areas like that helps to ensure you'll have some. I always have some. I cannot speak to, like, if I went to some of my neighbors who have, nothing but lawn and mulch
It'll be
beds.
interesting to see if I have them here. We do have some naturalized areas behind our houses, and of course, I have gardens, and my gardens have debris that will be really good for,
I I'm gonna guess you will see them.
I would think so. They've been kind of endangered slightly. I mean, not officially endangered, but they haven't been doing so well because people use a lot of pesticides and they don't give them much food and they don't give them much cover. But they're kind of making a comeback. Now, do you want to hear my funny fact about them?
I do.
So at night, when the fireflies are flashing, those are females for the most part saying, come hither, boyfriend. But some males will pretend to be females so they can kill the other males. Isn't that lovely?
That is lovely, and, reminds me 'cause the lady that did the talk about hummingbirds at Garden Club, she talked about the mating rituals, and normally it's the man who's making a big fuss trying to get the female. She was
Mhm.
just hilarious describing, how the and showing little videos of, like, a male hummingbird trying to attract a female, and the female's just like, "Get away, not
Yeah, leave me
interested,
alone. Not in the
leave me
mood.
alone." So, yeah,
Not
and then
baby birds.
yes, she was talking about how the little hummingbird eggs are the size of a Tic Tac, the little candy,
Really tiny, yeah.
and
Sheila
then
Lovejoy sometimes shares them on her Instagram.
She she then ate a couple of them, and they were actually
The
Tic
Tic Tacs.
Tacs.
Oh, that's
So,
funny. She
anyway,
was a good one. She was a
so
good
we would like to hear from our listeners about their is it fireflies or lightning bugs, and do you have them around your garden?
I would love to hear that. They're one of my favorite things. I love to sit out and look at them. And I used to sit on my deck and look down at my garden and past because I had tons of them. Now I'll sit on my front porch and look out. That would be really nice.
That'll be fun to see if you got some. Alright, I'm gonna do a quote so we can talk about the flower topic. The hum of bees is the voice of the garden. Elizabeth Lawrence.
It is. Here it would also be the cicadas.
Yes, not yet. The
Not yet. It's almost here. It's almost here.
cicadas always sound like back to school to me
For
because
you, but for me, they start right about, well, about middle of June. All right, flowers. And you put down, listen to your garden to hear how healthy it is. And that's brilliant.
thank you, Dee. I want our listeners to recognize that Dee has said that I am brilliant.
Well, you are brilliant.
Okay,
I
thanks.
would say that anytime because I think you're super smart. So you should listen for certain things in your garden. If your garden has no sound in it, there's something wrong. You use way too many pesticides.
Probably. Now, I will say that in my garden, if you don't tune it out, and I'm very used to tuning it out,
Me too.
there's the hum of the highway, which is several stops north of me, and then
Mhm.
there's another highway that's several stops south of me, so I'm, like, kind of like in the corner between 2 different interstates. So you are gonna hear this slight hum, but I ignore those. I listen for the bird song, and I had to laugh, Dee, 'cause I went out and you know what I heard? I heard the cardinals singing, sounded just like the opening to our podcast, and I thought I honestly was almost gonna pull out my phone thinking, "Did I just start the podcast song?"
Yeah, did I start listening to it? Yeah, exactly. Love cardinals. So to have bird song, you need insects because
And
birds eat insects, especially
yes.
in the spring and summer times, early summer. And the reason is that they bring those insects to their young. And so that's why you need a lot of insects. Doug Ptolemy has a whole thing where he talks about how many insects the average baby bird eats. And it's just some astronomical figure.
Oh, yeah, and another thing, I gotta go back to hummingbirds. Hummingbirds on the
You're
mind.
all about hummingbirds. Maybe this episode should have been hummingbirds.
Well, but our speaker and she's a professor up at IU Kokomo, and
Mhm.
she said that the main food source of hummingbirds, I would have said flower nectar. It's not,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
insects, and,
Mhm.
if you can attract a lot of hummingbirds, and we'll get to this in our dirt as well, they are constantly eating insects. They will eat all those mosquitoes and stuff as they're flying around, and
Mhm.
the nectar is just they need some energy so that they
To
can
keep
get the
flying.
protein from the birds, yeah,
From the insects. Yeah,
from the
I can
insects,
see
yeah.
that. That's fascinating. And then you also brought up water flowing, and that brings up your bird baths, and in my case, I have a fountain on my back deck, which is leaking, and I turned it off for a while, but I'm gonna turn it back on because it's not hurting anything where it's leaking because it goes right on, and I'm not gonna have time to fix it in the next few weeks. Hopefully, other things.
Now, my little solar fountains, they are not making a lot of noise.
No, they're just very little bubblers, right?
We'll talk about, you want yeah, you want if you can get it, a little trickle of water is a nice thing to hear, but it requires probably a much larger source of water than I have or that you have, but growing up, my dad had a fish pond and
No,
he had a
I
little
had a giant
fountain.
pond, I still own.
Yeah. Well, my
Giant.
dad had a pond and it had a fountain and you could go out there and sit and listen to the water trickling down his little fountain thing that he made out of
And I
rocks. It
have
was
a
very
great big
nice.
pond I have a great big pond at the other house too that Bill put in, a water feature. So, yeah, we had it going down stair step rocks, and it was nice. I don't want another pond. They're a lot of work, and I was the one who did most of the work, so no thank you to the pond, but I think they're lovely in other people's gardens. Now my water feature that's in the back, my little water fountain, it's pretty loud. It really pumps out the water, and the birds used to love it when it was in the sun on my deck because they bathed in it. It was very cute to watch them, but now it's kind of in the shade, so they won't do that anymore. And then you brought up wind rustling in the trees.
Yeah. A slight breeze. We don't need wind like we had the other night. Don't
We
need
have
straight line wind
terrible wind some days. It's
or
just a
tornadoes, that are roaring through like
Mhm.
a freight train, which is what people said, happened south of here.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding it was not that far south of here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
That's if
glad
I'm
you're
glad it
okay, but
wasn't
I'm
right through
sorry for
here.
them. All right. So, how do you make your garden a place that birds and bees and other creatures like to hang out?
First of all, don't make it too clean and perfect.
No, it's not supposed to be clean and perfect.
So this gives you permission to have areas that are naturally mulch, I call it.
Hmm.
Areas where a few weeds are still growing, you'll get to them eventually. Everybody stop fussing about them.
Yeah, you will get to them eventually. You need to have a source of water, which we've already talked about. It can be a bird bath, a small container of water for insects. Put some little rocks in there.
Yeah, I've seen people take old marbles and put them in there. I should do that. I have some blue flat polished glass rock that I put in the one bird bath, but now it's got the fountain in it. But I should come up with a little dish to put those in and then keep that with water.
There was a lady who used to make these little globes that were hand blown and they had little knobs on them for the bees to land on because a lot of creatures they can't get the access to the water without drowning and we don't want that.
No,
Use native plants wherever is appropriate, wherever you want to use them. I'm not going to bang people over the head about native plants. I like both.
right. Put up feeders for birds and hummingbirds.
See, I don't put up feeders. I just plant plants that hummingbirds are attracted to, but you can also do feeders. Okay, the
Yes.
next one.
Well, and this is probably controversial. Don't use pesticides. First of all, that insect that you're killing might be food for the birds.
Right.
And second of all, if you want to have things like lightning bugs, you're going to have to put up with other insects. And I still remember a lady from Garden Club who said she just didn't see a lot of bees in her garden, but she had a lot of company to come in and spray for mosquitoes. And I'm like,
That would be one.
it's not selective.
No, it's not. And one of the things in my butterfly talk I do, the butterfly moth bee talk, I say, you know what, if you want butterflies, you have to put up with their children.
Exactly.
You'll have
The
all the butterflies you
caterpillars.
know what to do with. I always did. Of
Of
course, if you
course,
have ticks, you can put down pellets and they do help. And those it's not a spray, so it's not as harmful. I mean, I know my purists out there are going to be upset, but ticks are a real problem here. So
sure they are.
it's
And
by
then
fence.
Japanese beetles, they should be
Let the
emerging here
drown.
in another week or so, usually by the end of June, and today is
Yeah,
the
that's when they go in my
14th.
house too. Yeah. And then
So, you should handpick those off or, for several years, just don't plant the kind of plants that they really like, although if you plant roses and things like that, they really like those.
they do like roses, cannas. There's a whole list of things they like. But here's the deal. You can go out there with soapy water and their natural instinct is to drop to the ground. So if you touch the leaf there above, they'll drop into it. You want to go out early in the morning because it's cooler and they aren't flying away yet. So it's just
Exactly.
something to keep in mind, especially with I mean, truthfully, with all bugs, the earlier in the morning is the better because they have to have the warmth to be able to go and do stuff. And
Right.
somebody's gonna say, "Well, it's warm enough come in the mornings." Yes, normally it is, but it's not as warm as in the afternoon. Today, it's kinda chilly. It's only 67 degrees.
Today is kinda chilly. I think when I checked the temperature yesterday it was 69 when I went out there. I don't know what it was this morning when I was out there puttering around.
I love this next suggestion, which is plant a variety of flowers of different shapes, different bloom times, different sizes.
Bees will show up wherever there are flowers, and I can attest that in February, when my crocuses are in full bloom, it just takes a bit of a sunny day because the insects warm up, and then they'll come out and they'll
Mhm.
find those crocuses and they'll just have a heyday.
Same thing with hellebores.
Mhm.
I see them on hellebores. So you should have large shrubs to provide shelter for small birds. That's true. Birds have to smaller birds have to have a way to get away from predator birds, like
Exactly. Exactly. And if you can manage it, and it depends on your garden, if you can let an area grow a bit wild, that helps as well. Now, that's easy to do if you had 7.5 acres out in the country. Harder
Mhm.
to do if you're gardening on a third of an acre and you've got neighbors, you know,
Mhm.
looking
It is
under the
harder.
fence.
Yeah, it was easy. I mean, one time somebody got on to me because we were sweeping the leaves off of our lawn. My son was on the mulcher, the leaf mulcher,
Right,
and I was like, "You don't understand, I have so many leaves because I had so many trees." I don't have
right.
that now. I've got 5 trees.
But you can't have a lawn covered with leaves all winter long and expect that lawn is gonna come back
It
as a
won't
lawn.
live. It
No.
won't live. It'll be smothered, especially if it's a fescue lawn or a lawn that is turf grass that isn't, like Bermuda. All right. Wow, that was a lot. Can we do the quote?
Yes.
Flowers are the music of the ground from Earth's lips spoken without sound. Edwin Curran. Vegetables.
So again, this episode is all about sound in the garden and bringing sound into the garden. And
Yeah.
so the only sound I could think of in the vegetable garden is two. There's two: the rustling of the corn.
Yeah. 'Cause it's wind pollinated, and it's a
Yes, you want to.
grass.
Yeah, you want to hear the wind growing through the corn because that means it's pollinating it.
Mhm.
And then you better hear the hum of bees if you want certain kinds of vegetables that are bee pollinated.
Right. Right. And some vegetables are I mean, they're pollinated in different ways, but yes, bees are very important.
Yes,
Bumblebees.
especially for squash and cucumbers.
Yeah, that's what I thought of right off the top of my head. And borage, it will attract bees because it blooms. It has those cucumber-shaped blooms, and then on top of that, they're blue. And I know bees tend to go for yellow, but for the
Which
bumblebees love that plant.
which reminds me, out in my vegetable garden, I was looking, and I need to look more closely. I
Mhm.
have dill that's coming up from self-sown. I have the Nicotiana coming up self-sown. I have bronze and regular fennel, both self-sown, coming up nicely. I have not seen any borage lately, and it's usually one that also self-sows, and I'm like,
Yeah, but every once in a while, it seems like it just kinda goes away, and you have to put seeds down again, at least at my house.
well, I might have to go get some borage seeds because one cannot let it just go away.
No, because I mean, even though the leaves on it aren't beautiful, the flowers are lovely, and really and truly, it is a great plant to bring in beneficial insects of all types.
And so I need to go back and see if maybe some has come up, maybe in the strawberry bed because it's near that, and I just need to move.
Yeah,
So
I have it at my old house. I'll have to Mhm.
that's really and in my garden also the new hollyhocks, they will bring
Oh,
in pollinators. Of course, my squash is not yet flowering, it's not big enough yet.
right.
So,
It will
we
soon.
it will
And there's a
soon.
specific bee. I mean, a lot of bees pollinate squash, but there is a squash bee, and it's a really pretty little bee. And I took pictures of it one time, and put them on the blog. So if you want to go look up squash bees, it's on the blog. The other thing is, you said to bring in the bees, do flowers, skip pesticides, have a water source. And we've talked about that already. But I wanted to say I planted sunflower seeds, several kinds. I planted zinnia seeds, and then I planted cosmos seeds. So to
Eh,
give different things at different times. And I also staggered my planting so that different things will mature at different times,
well,
hopefully.
I let some sunflowers just come up from they self-sowed, and I let those come up. I have, like,
Mhm.
3 of them out there. I planted zinnias. I also sowed some seeds for some marigolds, and the other thing is some of the thyme that I planted last year, one of them is really full of flowers. I'm thinking that's gonna draw in some pollinators.
Mhm.
So I was really pleased with that, and you told me last year that the what was it? Can't think of it right off the top of my head. Oregano. That the oregano was gonna take off, and it indeed has taken off, Dee.
Mhm. Yeah,
Quite, they're getting
I
kinda
know it
tall.
would.
And you know what else is bringing in bees and pollinators to my vegetable garden?
What?
The mysterious lavender that I have growing over by the big rock. Full
Oh,
bloom,
yeah.
that and I have a bunch of clematis vines. There's just a lot that just kinda goes over there, but I'm thinking in the back row of the vegetable garden against the fence, I have a few things that are perennials in there, but I mostly leave it blank so that I can plant the zinnias in there, and I was thinking to myself, as I kind of, like, want to have less work to do in the garden,
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna start taking little starts of perennials and planting them in that back bed and making that whole back bed just a perennial border and figure out other places to plant zinnias, and then
Okay.
if the perennials are in there, I think there will be fewer weeds and I can tend it more, so I've got black-eyed Susans, I've got daylilies I can put in there, I've got all kinds of stuff that I could transplant and stick in there and just make a nice perennial border. What say you?
I said go for it. I said
Thank
do
you.
whatever you want.
I get to do whatever I want.
Whatever
The
you want.
best.
It's your garden.
So I'm going to start converting that back row into a perennial border
Got it.
that takes a little bit less for Carol to do anything with.
Okay. Sounds good. All
All
right,
right.
do the next quote.
A garden is a love song, a duet between a human being and Mother Nature. And that is Jeff Cox, American garden writer.
Do you know who
And
Jeff Cox is? I don't.
yeah, but yes, he was up in the Michigan area, and I think he's actually deceased. This is showing
I
1940 dash, but I think
don't
he
know.
actually died a few years
Maybe.
ago.
Huh. I
So,
don't know.
but he was up in
Okay,
the Detroit area.
now we need to explain why we did this all on listening.
Because Carol bought a book called Garden Voices, A Year of Gardener's Writing. Look, edited by Claire Massett. And the funny thing is, I don't know if Instagram, something brought this book to my attention and I bought it, Dee. I did not get a review copy. I bought it.
I
And
want it.
so, as it's described, a fascinating celebration of our love for all things horticultural with a selection of garden related entries from diaries, letters, and articles for every day of the year. And you know how I love me those books that, go season by season.
Mm.
And so, this is just nice to have when you're having your first little morning cup of tea or whatever. You can just turn to that date. And so today's June the 14th, and they have a quote from Mary Russell Mitford in a letter to
Huh.
Sir William Elford, Bertram House, Berkshire, 1818.
Mhm.
And then for June the 15th, and this is published in Great Britain, a fair number of these writers are British. But then June 15th, it's from Henry David Thoreau. He says, "How rapidly new flowers unfold, as if nature would get through her week too soon. One has as much as he can do to observe how flowers successfully unfold. It is a flowery revolution to which but few attend. Hardly too much attention can be bestowed on flowers. We march after the highest color that is our flag, our standard, our color. Flowers were made to be seen, not overlooked. Their bright colors imply eyes, spectators." So on and
Wow.
on and on it goes. And so I just thought, let's talk
You
about
might
this
need
with
that
our
book.
listeners. Yeah. It's not the cheapest book in the world, Dee. I'm just going to tell you, it retails for $40,
Ooh, okay.
but you can get a year's worth of pleasure out of it. So why not? And by the time you get to the end of the year, you can flip back to the beginning and you won't remember. So you can just start reading again. And it might open up some rabbit holes, Dee. You know how I am
I know how you are.
when you get to an old writer. So anyway, I love that book. I'm happy to have it, and read it every day.
Okay,
So
I'll do
that
the next. Oh,
Well, let me just say again, that's
okay.
Garden Voices, A Year of Gardener's Writing, edited by Claire Massett, and available on bookshop.org and also Amazon, or go to your local bookstore and tell them that the Garden Angelist said that you needed this book and could they please get you a copy?
Yeah, tell them it came from us because who knows? Maybe they'll listen.
Who
All right.
knows?
Quote: There is always music amongst the trees in the garden, but our hearts must be very quiet to hear it. Minnie, I'm going to say aumônier, but I don't know if
Very
that's
pretty.
dirt. You brought up this one about the mosquito bucket. I know they sell them here at the Master Gardener deals. I've seen them for sale before. You should try it.
So what a mosquito bucket is they take a 5-gallon bucket, fill it with water, and they get one of those mosquito dunks that you can put in like stagnant
Mhm.
water. And years ago, there was a house 2 doors down from one of my sisters that was being flipped or whatever, and they weren't doing anything with the pool, and it
Mm.
was nasty, and so my brother-in-law would go over there and throw a couple of those dunks over the fence and into the pool to try to stop the mosquitoes.
Did it work?
I think so, but the idea is that you put in the mosquito dunk, and then you put, like, some straw or something over the top of the water, and then the mosquitoes would be attracted to it to lay their eggs, and then they will die.
Sounds good. Drowning is good.
So I may try it, just have to go I have 5-gallon buckets
But
already.
you also have a vinegar tower thingy? That's what you wrote in the note.
Yeah, it's a green garden. I put a link to it on the Home Depot, and I bought this down at the Johnson County Garden Fair, and it's
Mhm.
this long olivey green tube, and you put vinegar in it, like, every month, and which reminds me I probably need to go out there and add more vinegar, and the scent of the vinegar is supposed to, like, cause the mosquitoes not to hang around,
Mhm.
and so I put it up by my patio, and when I was weeding in the vegetable garden, I thought, "I need that mosquito thing out here." To keep them out of the vegetable garden area or just,
Mhm.
you know so all kinds of ways to try to keep mosquitoes away from your garden. If any listeners have other suggestions, we are open to them because mosquitoes are bad.
They are bad. I will say in Oklahoma when it's windy. So a lot of times I don't have trouble with them. But if it's a day like tomorrow, maybe really humid and the air really thick, I may have trouble with them then. So
Anyway, so I'm trying to keep mosquitoes away because I just get so bitten up with them, and I hate that.
yeah, nobody likes to I don't like them. I don't like
I
them. I don't like things that bite. Can we just say that? Insects that bite us, I'm not real thrilled with them.
No. Let's do another quote. Weather means more when you have a garden. There's nothing like listening to a shower and thinking how it is soaking in around your green beans. You wrote, or dahlias. Marceline Cox, American humorist, author of Ask Any Woman, a
I read
column.
Ordelia. I did read.
I don't know. It was
I don't know who wrote that.
anyway.
It doesn't
This was
matter.
a column in the Ladies' Home Journal from 1942 to 1959. She wrote.
Huh. Okay, rabbit holes. I'll do mine first. And I just asked my friend about I've been down a rabbit hole of the rose harvest season in Bulgaria because it started with this one girl and she's a travel writer and she went there and helped them pick. And they picked
Oh,
first morning. Yeah. So the first link I shared is her. And actually my friend sent it to me. And then he just texted me a minute ago and I said, "Hey, is the rose season still ongoing?" Because I've read different things. And he said, "No, it's peak right now." He says peak harvest time. So we'll share a couple of different reels because there's just some really beautiful ones. And by the way, my rose is doing really well. That one's doing great. It put
good.
out leaves. It looked like 3 sticks when I brought it home. And Bill was like, "Oh my gosh, that one does not look so good." And I said, "It's okay. It's a damask. It'll be fine." So that's my rabbit hole. Oh, wait, I got another message. Let me see if it has to do with roses real quick. But I have to
Okay.
translate. Hang on.
Well,
This is
you've done.
live, you know?
Oh yeah,
Okay, he said
life's
the
done.
peak of flowering is most often between May 20th and June 5th, depending on the weather in the spring for the oil bearing rose. And then the others bloom until late autumn because
Nice,
they have really nice weather there.
nice.
Tell him thank you later that he was part of our episode.
There you go. So
Okay,
I
tell me about
revisited.
yours.
Pardon?
Tell me about your rabbit hole.
Oh, I revisited Elizabeth Lawrence to be the latest Lost Lady of Garden Writing. Of course, we know her very well, but I'm glad I posted about her because I found a link to an old article written by Alan Bush, I think in 2011, about when he visited Elizabeth Lawrence in the final year or so that she spent in her garden. It's just the sweetest
Mhm.
thing. So I linked to that in there. And then somebody that she says, "Oh, I love Elizabeth Lawrence, but I didn't know her garden was open for people to go to."
Mhm.
And this person says, "I go visit a friend in Asheville, North Carolina. I bet he would go down to Charlotte with me to see her garden." I'm like, "Yeah."
Mhm.
So I was glad I wrote
That's
about,
really cool.
yeah, even though, we think, oh, everybody knows about Elizabeth Lawrence. A lot of people don't know about
No,
Elizabeth
a lot of
Lawrence.
people don't know. I think gardeners like us helped keep her alive, just like
Yeah.
Cassandra Dans. That she's another one that people don't know about, and she was extremely famous.
Right.
Okay, so
Also,
now you're listening. Oh, I have to tell you about the party I went to because it has to do with your book. But you finish.
I listened to Death of a Groom by MC Beaton with R.W. Green, and that's those Hamish Macbeth mysteries that I started
Yes.
years ago. So
Yeah.
that's the 38th. I've read all of them now, or listened to all of them, Dee, all 38.
Wow.
And so I've listened to all the Agatha Raisin ones, also MC Beaton. Now, MC Beaton died,
Uh huh.
but she gave the rights to R.W. Green, some guy, and he now writes one a year for Hamish Macbeth and one for Agatha Raisin. And the Agatha Raisin one is coming out in October because I was like researching to see when it came out.
Uh huh.
So those characters, those mystery detectives, they keep on living. And
That's
remember,
amazing. I know some other writers who've done the same thing, which if it's a beloved, character, people don't want to miss them.
well, you know who didn't do it, and now that I say that, I'm like, "Oh gosh, what was her name?" That wrote the ABC murders. A is for
Uh-huh. A is
alibi,
for
B.
alibi, B is for burglar, C is for corpse. Sue Grafton, my very favorite.
So I
Oh,
haven't yeah, I haven't read all those, but she basically
I
said,
have.
"Nope." She said, "When I die, that's it. Nobody else is
And
gonna
so
write them."
the tagline is the alphabet ends with Y because she
Exactly.
made it Y. and then she passed away from cancer, and I did cry when she died because I met
Yeah.
her, and that was I mean,
I met her
I
too.
read all of her books, and it was just a big deal when she died. Okay, so
Dee, I one up you. I met her. I was at her home. Sorry.
I know you bring that up every time. So
But I
rude.
also the Aunt Demity murder mysteries, they stopped at 24, 25, and that author is still alive, but apparently it's just she
She
just
got
hasn't
done.
well, she just hasn't had the gumption. I think she's had some depression issues or something, so
Smart.
anyway, Death of a Groom, I just finished it with,
Okay, so can I tell you about my deal this week? That
your
has to do
deal.
with it. Yeah. I went
Yes.
to a party. My bosses threw us a party, and at the
Nice.
party, there was a romance bookmobile, and so I don't read a lot of romances, so I asked for romantic suspense, and she gave me a couple of ideas, and so I bought a couple of books, and then they had ink pens, and the ink pens all had to do with plants, like, I wet my plants, suck what a suck
Right.
stuff like that. Anyway, that was fun. That was really fun. And then I also bought a book bag about reading too. And I'm still reading Theo of Golden. Never gonna
Dee,
finish it.
you
I know
need to
that's two of the women at the deal, one of my bosses and Belle, this other wonderful lady, they were both like, Dee, how can you not finish that? That is the best book ever. And I said, oh my gosh, it's so boring.
you need to you just need to plow through. Maybe get
I
the
do.
audiobook. You need to
They
plow
say
through.
the book is really good because the guy who reads it is Portuguese. And the guy who reads the book is Portuguese because
You read
main the main character in the book is from Portugal.
right. Right.
Right. He doesn't read it in Portuguese. He reads it
Okay.
in English with a Portuguese accent.
You need to finish the book because it's really good, and
I know it is. I'm now 3/4 of the way through. I'm almost
Alan Levi, the author, self-published the book.
I know.
It got really popular, and I suppose that if he had had, like, a professional editor at the
Yeah.
beginning, they might have moved things along,
Yeah.
but I loved it, and another book that I talked to this one last week. I ripped through The Land by Maggie O'Farrell. Very
Uh-huh.
good. I
Love
talked about
Maggie.
that one last week.
Love her.
You
Okay,
would
shall
love
we go visit a garden and get out of this rabbit hole we're in?
Yes.
You brought up Longwood Gardens, and the thing everybody goes to Longwood for, I mean, there are lots of things, but the big thing is the fountains. They have
Speaking of
amazing, exquisite fountains that Monty Don wasn't really that fond of, but we enjoyed them. And then we saw a light show at night with the fountains, and it was to music.
and when we say we, it's you and other people. Carol has never been.
You never went there?
No.
I wasn't with you. I must have been with Marianne.
Yeah,
I
you
was
you
there,
were you were with bloggers. That was the trip that was so rainy.
one of them. There's been so many that were so rainy.
Exactly. But anyway, so if you're in the area, it's outside of Philadelphia, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Then
It's great.
Longwood Gardens.
Hot. It was hot. All right, garden commissions. I'm cleaning up the paths in my old garden because they're kind of weedy because I haven't been there. And house is getting its picture taken this week on Wednesday, and they will
Nice.
put up the signs as soon as the pictures are taken. And then I want it to look lovely for the next person who comes and sees it. And last week we had it cleaned again because when they brought out all that stuff,
Right.
it got dirty, and so we cleaned it all up. I had its windows clean. She looks just about as pretty as she can look.
I'm sure that that is a unique property that will sell quickly.
I hope so. And then I'm s I'm worried about my Caldwell pink rose, so I need to talk to Sherry about it, my friend, who's all about roses. It does not look well, so I need to text her. What are you gonna do?
So the last thing I need to plan out is I have those basil seedlings and they've been sitting there. They've just gotten drenched with rain, but I need to plant those out in some planter boxes that I have waiting for them. And then I have to keep weeding, mow the lawn as usual, and deadhead flowers. But Dee, you'll be proud of me.
Mhm.
I've been trying to mow the lawn just once a week instead of every 4 or 5 days.
Wow, for you, that's huge.
Yeah, because well, partly the lawn service, they said letting the grass grow a little bit longer keeps it healthier, and I never thought
True.
that I was mowing so much that it was unhealthy, but it does it's always that, "Oh my gosh, if I let it grow too long, what if we have a bunch of rain and I can't get it cut?" And I'm like, "What if we have a bunch of rain and we can't get it cut? It'll get cut eventually."
Yeah, exactly.
So
Mine gets mowed every 2 weeks.
yeah, but your grass doesn't grow as quickly as it does here, these bluegrass lawns.
Mhm. True.
Anyway, I need to deadhead flowers in case I didn't mention that. There's always something to deadhead out there. There's always weeds to pull. There's always tree seedlings coming up. There's just you can
Well,
go out there and spend a lovely hour and fill up a bag with a bunch of stuff, throw it in the trash, and move on to the next thing. That's what I'm going
yep.
to do. Live the gardening life, as they say.
And it's now time to move on to the next thing. So shall we wrap this up?
Thank you for listening to The Garden Angelist. We publish every week on Wednesdays at 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Be sure and follow us on Apple Podcasts. That helps us get noticed by others.
If you subscribe to our Substack newsletter, you get a link to listen to the podcast a whole day early, and you get links to the products we discuss. Plus, you can go over to YouTube and see us in person, which is why I did my hair. Full episodes show up on Tuesdays. So if you can't wait until Wednesday, you now have 2 days and 2 ways to get episodes on Tuesdays.
And if you want to help support us, use our affiliate links. If you buy something after clicking through on them, we're in a small commission and it costs you nothing. Which reminds me that somebody bought some Cobra Head tools and we got a
God
commission
bless
off of
them.
that. Thank you. And I was using my Cobra Head tool goes out with me every time I go out to the garden to pull
I
weeds and
love
stuff.
that mini weeder. I
Oh,
love it.
love the mini, love the mini. I've
The
got
mini's
two.
the best. The mini's the best. Well, all their tools are great. Don't get me wrong, but that mini is perfect for getting the grass away from the edge of like your flower bed. It's
Right.
the best.
So anyway, keep
Where
going.
were we?
Or
You
if or
can set up
yeah.
a monthly subscription through Buzzsprout, or you can make a one-time donation through PayPal. You also have the option of pledging your support on Substack. All of these are very much appreciated.
Yes, thank you to everyone who's done so. It does help us pay for the podcast hosting.
It was lovely to chat with all of you over the Garden Gate. Bye until next week.
Bye everybody.